Hey everybody, and welcome back to Split Couch Games. I'm Scott. That's
And
Ben.
I'm Ben.
There he is, right there. Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out, and I'm super excited about that. I got my copy pre-ordered. It's practically downloaded on my Xbox right now.
Shut up. No, you
And-
don't.
Come on, Ben, let me have this one.
No. You're not allowed to pretend to enjoy my favorite franchise.
Is it your favorite franchise?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I mean, I haven't probably played it as much as many other people, but that's because I'm eclectic in the type of video games that I like to play and everything, so... but I mean, like, Mass Effect and the Elder Scrolls franchises are, like, my top two.
All right, I can buy that. Anyway, I'm actually not like overly excited for Andromeda. Like, it looks cool. Looks like something that I might pick up at some point, but
When it's in, like, the bargain bin at Walmart.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't go to Walmart, Ben, please.
Find
Anyway.
the bargain bin at Target.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, I mean, I'll probably pick it up at some point, maybe. I don't know. I'll see you play it, and I'll be like, I kind of want to play that. Anyway, so, but speaking of Mass Effect, there's a bit of controversy.
Yeah,
And that's what Ben thinks about it.
If that's what you want to call it, I feel like the general populace is just kind of being stupid about the entire thing.
What? You think the populace is the general? Fuck! I fucked it up.
Yep,
I
you
even
did.
told. Oh,
It's
God,
okay.
no.
It's okay.
How do I mess that up? Oh. Anyway, you got what I was saying.
The internet basically is being dumb because they're criticizing the animation quality and everything, and not just the facial animation. Apparently, it's everything from like walk cycles to just like in general conversation animation of like people walking in and out of the conversation, that kind of thing. And
For those who don't know, Ben went to school for animation.
yeah, I went to school for 3D animation, so I kind of know what I'm talking about, at least a little bit.
This one time, Ben knows what he's talking about. So,
But so, I'm not saying that Mass Effect Andromeda shouldn't be criticized. Like, that is not what I'm saying. But I feel like if you're going to criticize something, you need to at least do so with an objective mindset, and I feel like that's what's missing here. And
fill us in with the objective mindset, Ben.
well, specifically with like some of the walking cycles, like there's one specific animation of a character leaving a conversation and they compare her to a gorilla in like the way that she's walking and everything. And that and another animation where like the player character's walk cycle is kind of broken because they're like half crouched and like back straight and just like walking with like real kind of floppy looking legs.
It looks
Like,
funny.
It looks funny, and if that were the norm, I would say yes, that deserves to be criticized. However, these are clearly, and you can tell just by looking at it, like instances of bugs in the game.
Yeah.
So it's not like the normal thing. Now, like the one with the character leaving the conversation, it is possible that that's normal. I haven't played the game yet, so I can't really comment on that specifically, but to me it does look like the character's rig is broken and not functioning properly as she's walking away.
Yeah, I'm
So-
not to get you off topic, but I'm curious, is there any news about like a day one patch coming in, or is what we have right now what we're
I
getting?
don't know that there's necessarily been an announcement that there's a day one patch. However, this is 2017 and every game ever always has a day one patch, especially if there's any multiplayer involved whatsoever. So, I mean, it's possible these things can be patched out, but it's also kind of one of those things where if they were going to be patched out, you think they would have dropped that patch on the day that it became available for the early access people.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible that they missed it in testing and it was just like a one-off thing. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't. I haven't looked too much into it to see how many people are having the specific animation issues, like with the walking and stuff. I do know that the facial animations are wide or much more widely criticized.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I kind of want to put my 2 cents in on. So people will look at games like, The Order 1886 or even L.A. Noire and be like,
Say that one more time.
L.A. Noire. No, I
Noir.
can't. Why?
Noir.
That's the word. Noir. Anyways, people look at those types of games and, they see that excellent facial animation is clearly possible. Mm-hmm. And they instantly assume that that should be applicable to any and all video games ever. Because, at this point, like, it's no longer a limitation of the game engines or anything like that. So why can't they do it? And something that most people either willingly or maybe just accidentally choose to ignore is the fact that games like Mass Effect and games like, the Deus Ex series are focused around dialogue. Mm-hmm. And when you have games with thousands of lines of dialogue, that will exponentially increase the cost of animation. Yeah. Because speaking as an animator, facial animations are extraordinarily complex. Like, they can be easy from a lip syncing perspective, but in order to convey actual human emotion with, like, kind of dancing that fine line between, like, really good and the uncanny valley, it is a very, very hard thing to do. It takes a lot of time. Like, a good animator could easily spend a 40-hour work week and only do, like, 2 minutes of dialogue if they were doing the full face. And when you look at it that way, the options for video game studios are to keyframe animate an entire face, which can take a tremendous amount of time. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about thousands of lines of dialogue across dozens and dozens of characters, that is a lot of money. You're going to need a lot of animators and a lot of time to accomplish that.
Yeah.
The other option would be to do some facial motion capture for at least part of, if not all of, the characters and all the dialogue and everything. And that, again, is something that will take a lot of time and a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah.
Or they could go the cheap route and essentially have a program that says, hey, I will automatically animate your face. Just give me the dialogue in a text-based format. Mm-hmm. And it will essentially play it for the game. And it's, done in engine. And that's typically what larger video game studios will go with, because it's a cheap option that is very versatile. Because obviously in a game with lots of dialogue, you could have dialogue strings that change maybe even a few months before ship. And they would need to be able to change those animations very rapidly. Mm-hmm. And you don't have the time to have someone go through and rekey an entire, dialogue tree.
So I think it's really important to note that with the type of game that Mass Effect is, like you said, there's thousands and thousands of dialogue options, but the main point of Mass Effect is not necessarily dialogue. Like, it's important and it branches out the characters and everything, but it's not like L.A. Noire where it was so focused on the facial expressions. Like, they had to get those right, and it was a gameplay element, not just a dialogue element.
Exactly.
And if you look at Order 1886 and the new Gears of War had really good facial animation, in my opinion. And like,
well, in the cinematics, yeah,
in the cinematics, like, those are all like pre-done and done for cinematic purpose, at least as far as 1886 I think is the same way, right?
I believe so, yeah. Like, I mean, hell, that game was basically like a movie with a controller attached to it.
So there's a difference between animating a part of the game and animating a cinematic
Yeah,
part
definitely.
of the game, because cinematics have to look good, they have to engage, and they have to do those things. But
Exactly.
gameplay, you kind of you have to cut corners at some place, and it looks like Andromeda decided that was the place to cut corners. And I think it's more noticeable now than in previous Mass Effect games, because I've seen footage and everything,
Sure.
because the graphics are so much better. So there's a little bit more of a disconnect there.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even necessarily. I wouldn't honestly count it as cutting corners,
Sure.
because cutting corners implies that like they needed to save on money, and so they chose that instead of another thing to save money on.
I use cutting quarters not as a saving money, but as a saving time, saving a lot of, like, they chose to.
But I mean, I don't even really think it's a matter of saving anything, because the other options just aren't viable. Like, if you, like, let's just say they even went the slightly easier route. Because something that most people don't know about motion capture is it is not a perfect system. You still need an animator to go in and, you know, fine tune and adjust everything. Like, just because you get a motion capture of something doesn't mean that your animation is done and you can ship it. Like,
Yeah.
you still have to go in, you have to fine tune everything, you have to fix any, you know, like random popping of joints and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, even if you go the route of mocapping everything for facials, you will, like I said, exponentially increase the cost. And frankly, I mean, if people were okay with paying, you know, $150 for a base copy of Andromeda, then sure, they'd probably be happy to do it.
Yeah.
But we don't live in a world where that's acceptable. Like, nobody would go out and pay $150 for a BioWare RPG.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I feel like I mean, maybe cutting corners is a little harsh, but they definitely made a choice. Like, that's the thing. They made a choice to not invest more into it. Whether
Yeah,
whether or
but-
not there was another choice that's viable, like, it's a tomato kind of argument for sure.
I mean,
I don't want you. I don't want, like, I don't think that you can say with 100% certainty that was the only thing they could have done. They could have, like you said, they could have invested more time and money into it. Was it feasible? No, but they could have.
See,
So they made a
but
choice.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of
I'm not saying they made the
doing
wrong
a
choice.
disservice.
I'm not saying,
because, like, just because something is an option doesn't mean it's actually an option. Because I mean, like, I wake up every morning. Technically, I have the option to murder everyone on the block.
I would appreciate you if you didn't do that. I'm
Like,
I'm technically on the block.
But I mean, like, that's not really an option, because no sensible person would do that. And I feel like once something goes outside the realms of sensibility, it's no longer an option.
Sure, and I'm not saying that, like, again, I'm not saying that they did it wrong, but I think that, speaking of doing disservices, that you're doing a disservice to anyone trying to learn about this stuff to say this is the only way that it can be done. And I think that, like, that's
Sure.
that's where I'm getting hung up, is that, like, I don't want everyone to think that, like, oh, BioWare's perfect, they did it exactly right, because then it's not pushing anything forward. Like, oh, well,
Yeah.
maybe they could. But yeah,
But I mean, like,
it's,
I also don't want people to have the misconception that
yeah. Like,
doing
BioWare
a full
did their
motion
best they could.
capture or full
Yeah.
keyframing of facial animations is an option. And I feel like, especially with facials, it's kind of an all or nothing thing. Like, you can't do, like, oh, the main characters have really good facial animation, but everyone else is crap. Because then that makes it even more apparent, I think.
Yeah.
Because like, if you had, like, the player character and the core group of characters that had really good facial animations, but then all the side quest NPCs were like Muppets or something, then I feel like that would be worse than having everyone at kind of like a baseline of mediocre, you know, at best,
Sure.
kind of thing. And I don't know. I mean, it's obviously like an interesting issue, and like you said, I mean, it technically the options of doing full motion capture or keyframe and everything like that are there.
Yeah.
I just don't think they are even remotely feasible. You
Sure.
know, because I mean, it's kind of like, you know, should I buy a Ferrari or should I get a, you know, Ford Focus? I only have $10,000, you know.
I feel like that's enough to put a down payment on a Ferrari. I mean, we need. Now I kind of want a Ferrari. Let's go get a Ferrari after this.
Can we not? No, I mean, I just think it's a silly thing to be upset about.
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel like it's kind of one of those things of, like, there's not really anything else that's inherently bad about the game, so people that are hell-bent on disliking something find something.
Well, I don't know if it's people are trying to dislike the game. I feel like it's just turned into a meme at this point, which has, in my opinion, like memes in general don't have any sort of like ill intent behind them. There's obvious exceptions, but like I feel like it's just like ah ha 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 at this point, and like people are like kind of like what the fuck, and
but I mean, that's not how it's often portrayed. Like, I mean, most of the time when I see people talking about it, like, it's a holy crap, this is bad, not a LOL, this is funny. And
sure, but I feel like, I mean, it's the same thing that happened with the Assassin's Creed Ezio Collection remake, where there's janky animations.
yeah, and that turned out to be completely false.
Not completely, like they were still in there, but like
Well,
it wasn't.
I mean,
it wasn't as
it's about as completely false as the article that Wall Street Journal did on PewDiePie and how he was a Nazi. All of the information was technically true. It was just taken completely out of context.
Sure, it's a little bit different because
not really.
It's a little.
Did you ever watch the video that I sent you?
Yeah, I watched. So
about how it's like these are literally all bugs that are easily reprobable and even capable of being done in the base game.
Yeah, but like that video, kind of like it. Words are hard. It's just the Wall Street Journal took quotes and just like picked and choose like very specific moments. And like that is what happened with the Assassin's Creed, like the original Assassin's Creed video. And if you guys don't know, it was basically a 3-minute long video that took a bunch of different animations and we're like, this is shit from the remake, and then came out a little bit after that. They were issues that were present in the original game.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as poorly done as
it wasn't a bad port. It was just they decided, hey, I found a bug. I'm gonna pretend like it's because it's a bad port.
Yeah.
Because journalism,
and
quote unquote.
I don't. Was it even a journalist that did it? I thought it was just picked up
Polygon.
by.
No, it was Polygon. Polygon made the video, and they were like, "This is terrible," and I'm like. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. Like, I fell for it at first, but then I started doing my research, and I'm like, wow. And this is why I don't go to your website.
Well, yeah. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting fooled by something. It's you kind of just have to accept that you don't know both sides until you look up both sides.
Yeah. Which I mean, that I'm always an advocate for that.
Yeah. Like seriously, guys, look up both sides. Like, find a counter argument. And don't
even completely listen to me. Like,
absolutely don't listen to Ben ever.
If I have made any, misconceptions or anything like that, even talking about animation stuff, yes, I know I went to college and I should know what I'm talking about. But, correct me if I'm wrong, please. I encourage it.
Yeah. So it's just. Because I thought that it was like a fan made it and then like sent it to Polygon, like, here, this is funny, and then Polygon was like, what the fuck is this? But I guess if Polygon did actually, I guess that is right. I remember that now. was a long time ago. I didn't really pay attention because I didn't really care that much. I cared a
Yeah.
little bit. I like the Ezio trilogy was amazing.
It really was.
It's on sale right now. I kind of want to buy it.
Yeah,
But I don't.
I have way too many other things.
Yeah.
Like I'll get it when it's like maybe $10.
Yeah. Good times. Speaking of which, Syndicate's on sale too. I kind of want to buy that.
Syndicate's a good game. I haven't beaten it yet or anything, but it's a good game.
Yeah. So yeah. Hey, we
We're
actually
way off
seamlessly. No. It's all. Well, okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Like the last little bit was off topic,
Yeah,
but we
yeah,
we brought up Assassin's Creed in context.
That's true.
Like that is.
That's a first, I think.
No, it's not a
That's the
first. It's a rarity that we don't just like start talking about
I
Assassin's
suppose it
Creed.
depends on how you define context. Because I feel like context of here's a conversation point and now we rabbit trail and oh here's Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
Like,
Assassin's Creed is an important franchise. There's nothing we can't do anything about that.
with how much we talk about it, like I feel like we're gonna have to at least like stream it or something at some point. Like when the next one comes out,
Yeah.
like we have to get it and play it and people can watch or something because
Yeah, for sure. Let us know if you guys want us to. Josh comes in. Play Assassin's Creed 3 for the channel. Fuck you, Josh.
can
I don't
we?
need that.
I think that would be amazing.
No.
I think it would be great.
Damn it! I still have my copy. I would have to hook up my 360. And...
I'm pretty sure I have a copy because it was free with gold at one point. Maybe.
Man,
Or maybe
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't know.
Anyways,
Anyways,
it's a little early, but I think we covered pretty much everything that we needed to cover. Right? Basically,
Yeah.
don't worry too much about the animations. They're not going. We don't think that they're going to ruin your experience, at least from what I've seen.
yeah. I mean,
I also wouldn't be surprised if they, like during more important sections of the game, like perhaps the end or whatever, they maybe amped up the animations just a little bit, made them a little bit better, just to add a little depth to those scenes.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is if animations are your biggest concern going into it, and if animation is something that will completely ruin your gameplay experience, why are you playing an RPG? That's the question I have for you.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, combat animations and everything, as far as I've seen, are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as, like, outside of that, you know, facial animations, maybe even, like, social stuff where you're not in combat or actively exploring a planet or something can be iffy. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you said, we've said what we can about the topic.
Basically, just
I personally don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think anybody else should think it's that big of a deal. But if you do, that's your prerogative. So,
yeah. It's a meme. Boom. Also, the thumbnail's totally going to be the face that everyone's passing around. There's nothing I can do about it. Just has to. Has to happen that way.
I mean, sure.
Anyway, we're gonna wrap this episode up. I'm gonna have fun editing this one because there's so many issues, especially early on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, you don't know what I'm talking about? Okay.
This was flawless.
Then I'm not gonna edit anything. We're just gonna
It
slap
wasn't
it in
flawless. It wasn't. It wasn't.
there.
Please
Just gonna
edit
slap
those
it
out.
in.
No.
Oh no.
Scott.
Oh no. Just slapping it in.
I
Slap
will
with some
shit on your
gameplay.
pillow.
Don't do that.
Well, then edit it.
Not again, Ben. Not again. Alright. We'll see you guys next time on Split Couch Games. Let us know any topics that you guys want us to discuss.
Except next week, you won't be able to do that because we're recording next week's podcast in advance because who knows if we'll be able to actually pull me away from Mass Effect Andromeda. Because in the context of when this is released, that comes out tonight, and I'm going to be playing it a lot, so...
Oh, that's true. It comes out at 9 o'clock, doesn't it?
Yep.
Hey, Ben, you want to play some Gears tonight?
No, fuck you. I tried playing last night, and I rage quit.
Why didn't you invite me?
Because I don't want to play against Onyx too.
We can hop into a social game. Everyone's so bad at social.
Yeah, but you have to remember, I'm just bad at Gears, period.
No, everyone is bad at social. Like there was. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time on Split Cash Games.
Bye.
Bye.